Okay, this week the US literally got invaded by some aggressive tumbleweeds. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson agreed to fight, but there's a lot of reasons which I'll show you suggesting that they could be lying to the world. A guest that Joe Rogan had on his podcast just last month has now been arrested and charged with murder after the police found a head in his freezer. That one's wild. And remember last week's toe-sucking schools for charity situation? Well, that shit's got a whole lot crazier. Strap the hell in because this week is wild. As you can see, I'm not at the Newsdaddy HQ right now, but all will be revealed at the end of the video. Sorry to do that to you. I love you. Move on. Okay, let's kick this week off with Tumble-gedon. A part of the US was literally invaded by hundreds of thousands of tumbleweeds this week. I mean, this is what towns in Utah looks like after being overrun by migrant weeds. Think that's okay to say? Forcing roadways to be shut down, piles around houses built up to about 10 feet high. And for those who were prepared, there's always some of them. You can see trucks with plows fitted to the front of the vehicle just disappearing into the dry and spiky abyss. This is basically Utah's version of a snowstorm, but snow angels are goddamn prohibited. No. Moving on. Now, if you are younger than 26 years old, a new study suggests that you are now gonna face a blindness epidemic. And a lockdown ain't gonna save you this time. The research revealed that nearsightedness has increased by a massive 59% in Gen Z. And the UN says that by 2030, it's gonna affect 40% of the world's population. I mean, we are slowly evolving or devolving into this bloody person. And you want to know the bloody cause? A top eye surgeon said that youth are now spending far too much time with electronics devices far close to their face during a critical time in their lives where they should be getting natural sunlight. Go out, young boys. And I'm also gonna say it, right? I'm gonna say it. Blind generation before GT. Moving on. Now, flights in 2024, don't get them. Just don't. Just boycott flights because you'll probably die. Because this week, we've got even more footage, this time of a wheel just dropping off the United Airlines Boeing plane as it was taking off. Look how pathetic that looks. A guy who saw it happen said that the giant tire fell into the airport staff parking lot, bounced super high before landing on and crushing this white car. It then bounced a second time, landing on this red Tesla, and then it finally ended its long journey in the Hertz rental car park. I feel like there should be a child's story about the lost tire. Now, the guy who saw it said at the speed and velocity it was falling at, if it hit someone, it would have crushed them like a grape. And when I did this on my TikTok, Alex, the editor, somehow found a video of a hammer crushing a grape. Somehow. So that's what it would have looked like if that was a human. Weird overlay that he found. I feel like he created this. Alex is a sus guy. You don't know what he gets up to in Canada. He probably recorded this stock footage. L Alex in the chat. I'm sorry, guys, don't put L Alex in the chat. He's the greatest. Damn, bro, just trying to do his job and
I slide neatly into a hole. I get longer if you pull me. I fit snug in between breasts. I choke people when used incorrectly. And I work well when I'm jerked. What am I?
Bro, this isn't even funny. That's actually shocking.
Fine, we didn't find out the answer. What was it?
Obviously, I'm a seatbelt.
Okay, mildly aggressive. Let's move on. Now, the plane, which was initially headed to Japan, never made it. Oh my god, actually just realizing to Japan. Anything tied to Japan in flights right now? No. Don't. What the fuck? Anyway, it was diverted to LAX where it landed safely. I wonder if the pilot told the passengers, we've lost a wheel, but we're about to land. That would have been a wild landing. And then what's crazier is that as soon as I recorded this video to post on my TikTok, this happened. Yet another United Airlines Boeing had to be evacuated after it suffered gear collapse after landing. Now I have to catch a plane in a few days, so wish me luck, and if you don't see one of these videos ever again, just know I died. Not happily. United Airlines have now had a door incident, a wing incident, a wheel incident, and a gear incident. what next? Moving on. Okay, this update is wild. So if you watched last week's video, you would know that a school in Oklahoma was holding a toe-sucking competition for charity. So normal. But it's now coming out that a second school also in Oklahoma, what's going on over there, has been holding toe-sucking and armpit licking competitions too for years. But this time, unlike the other school staff were involved. What is happening to humanity? Now, the videos which show students licking and sucking chocolate off of faculty were uncovered by Fox News and are from the school's previous years of fundraising events from 2015 to 2020, and for some wild reason they were uploaded for public viewing's pleasure on their YouTube channel. Who thought that was a good idea? And if you thought that the last school's $150,000 raised for charity was massive, this school, in the first couple of months of 2024, they've raised over $400,000. That's it. Confirmed. Last week, I told you, Alex, to cut this part, but leave it in, because I am proud to say that the Newsdaddy toe-sucking competition is coming in full force. It's powering ahead to a local store near you. I'm about to put these toes to work. Alex, I'm giving you 3 seconds to edit up a promotional poster for this competition. 3, 2, 1. That's it. Has he done a good job? I'll probably see it at the same time as you. I mean, by the nature of the whole competition, I'm giving it a 10. Well done, Alex. Moving on. Okay, shut the hell up, because we need to change the mood of this video for 1 second. Because it is with a very heavy heart and tears in my eyes, Alex, edit tears into my eyes, that I have to tell you, Pigcasso is dead at the ripe old age of 8. Now, she was known as the most successful non-human artist in world history, selling over $1 million worth of paintings. Pigcasso was rescued from the slaughterhouse at just 4 weeks old in May 2016. And in the years to come, the money that she stacked moving that work was used to help other animals at the rescue center, saving lives, rich and generous too. You don't get many of those. Her last painting was titled Standing Ovation. And I think we have to. R.I.P. R.I.P. Pigcasso. You were one of the real ones. Moving on. Okay, we're moving on, but we're sticking to kind of the sad vibes. Because according to research, the UK is now officially the second most miserable country in the world. Well done? I don't know. So here's how the rest of the world placed. Now, according to the 4th annual Mental State of the World report, Nigeria did really well with a score of 83 out of 100. Now, I know the comments are gonna go crazy about this one, but the United States actually did pretty well mentally. They scored 73 out of 100. Saudi Arabia scored 68. Canada scored 67. Alex, not too bad. Now, this part is wild because in 6th from last place is Australia, which is where I lived for 4 years. 3rd from last place is South Africa, which is where I grew up. And then 2nd from rock bottom is UK, which is where I live now. So I'm really traveling the world of misery. And if you look at the graph, which shows the percentage of people in each country that is struggling mentally, the UK and South Africa are literally dead last. So the question is, do you agree with this ranking or not? Moving on. Okay, this story is straight out of a freaking movie plot. The guest that Joe Rogan had on his podcast just last month is now being charged with murder. Sheldon Johnson on the podcast spoke about how he used to be in the Bloods gang, but he since has turned his life around. He went to school and became a criminal justice activist with the law firm Queen's Defenders. So he really is talking about you can make it too. He was an inspiration for people that were in the life of crime and they wanted to turn their lives around and become like him. He was the shining example for everyone else. But then, early Tuesday morning, police received 911 calls regarding gunshots inside an apartment in a New York building, with one of the neighbors telling police that she had heard a person scream out, "Please don't, I have a family." She then said 2 more gunshots rang out, followed by silence. Shortly after hearing the shots, the neighbor saw Johnson carrying bags of cleaning supplies walking in and out of the apartment. Then, when the building manager checked security footage, he noticed that Johnson had changed his clothes several times and carried storage bins and bags on multiple occasions. When the manager decided this is sus, let's call the police to do a wellness check, they discovered that the victim's torso and feet were inside the bin. His legs, arms, and head were in the freezer, and he had been shot at least once in the head. Roughly 17 hours later, Sheldon Johnson was charged with murder. absolutely insane. Moving on. Okay, and for our last story, as we've all probably heard by now, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will be fighting in July. But considering that Mike Tyson will be 58 by the time this rolls around, and has had numerous injuries, which at one point left him walking with a cane, the question is this actually gonna be a real fight? So let me just pull up a couple of things, and then you can make up your own mind whether you think it is or it isn't. Let's start with safety. Boxing as a sport in your prime is dangerous, and multiple people have tragically died or have been left with life-changing injuries. I'm sure we've all seen this story. In fact, chronic traumatic brain injury occurs in approximately 20% of professional boxers. And if the standard wasn't dangerous enough, boxing when you're 57, even if it's against another 57-year-old, is also crazy dangerous. Because even if you're not facing an opponent that can move really fast or punch really hard, your bones, tendons, ligaments, heart, and even brain are way less resilient to trauma than it used to be. So one bad punch that a 57-year-old could land could do serious damage. But then there's boxing at 57 years old against someone who is 27 and arguably in the prime of their health years. And that right there is what we're talking about, because that just goes to the heights of silly dangerous. That is, if the fight was actually real. And that's not to mention that Mike has a family now. He's got children, wife, grandkids. Do you think that he's gonna risk his health or even potentially life just to make it a real fight? I don't know. I mean, people would watch regardless because everyone's got a Netflix subscription. They don't even have to pay for it. I mean, in one of his last professional fights, he even said this.
Mike, first let's start with you. Did you want to continue?
Well, I would like to continue, but I saw that I was getting beat on. I realized I don't think I have it anymore because I got the ability to stay in shape, but I don't got the fighting guts, I don't think, anymore.
When did you recognize that? At what part of the fight?
I don't know. Early into the fight. I'm just sorry I let everybody down. I just don't have this in my heart anymore.
Did you feel as though you had it coming into the fight?
No, I'm just fighting to take care of my bills, basically. I don't have the stomach for this kind of no more. I'm more conscious of my children and those guys looking at my parents. I don't have that ferocity. I'm not an animal anymore.
Does that mean we won't see you fight again?
Yeah, that's most likely. I'm not going to fight again. I'm not going to disrespect the sport anymore by losing to this caliber of fighters.
And that's just one part. If you look at some other YouTubers that have fought retired pros in the past, like Floyd versus Deji, you'll find that even that wasn't exactly a real fight, even if both of them were pretty damn young and healthy.
So what happens, his team, the money team, they come in, because I guess it's been relayed to them that I said I'm not fighting. So they come to me being like, hey man, Deji man, Floyd, he's just gonna have fun in there. He ain't gonna hit too hard. And if he does hit too hard, just clinch him and be like, relax, man. And I promise you he'll relax. And I was just like, okay, cool, all right.
I mean, for your opponent's team in boxing to come to you and say, don't worry, he's not going to hit hard, and even give you a safe word, for that to be something that can even happen, I think we can safely say it's definitely more on the side of entertainment than the real sport of a fight. And I think personally that that's really what this fight with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul is going to boil down to. It's going to be an extremely entertaining event that millions of people are going to watch around the world and enjoy, whether it's fake or not fake. And I think the best parallel that I could draw is to perhaps WWE. I mean, the actions are still real and it still is very dangerous, but we all know that it is scripted and the winners are already predetermined, but people still love it, watch it, and enjoy it. But I think that's the distinction that a lot of boxing fans or just people in general haven't really come to accept yet. Because remember, the WWE of boxing hasn't really been around for long. And because of that, I think a lot of us are still watching with the framing that these should be real fights. And we haven't exactly made that mental shift yet, but I feel like it's coming. And of course, just like the WWE, we're never gonna get to a point where the fighters are like, yeah, don't worry guys, it's staged, it's scripted, it's not real, because that would completely destroy the excitement. I mean, take this for example. Jake Paul posted this video saying that this was Mike Tyson 2 weeks ago, and he looks like a freaking beast. I mean, by posting this, he's clearly trying to show the world that it is still going to be a challenge, and he's still in a lot of danger fighting Mike Tyson, even at 57, which you'll know is so different from a normal boxing match, which is just try and talk each other down the whole time, saying, this is going to be the easiest fight of my life. And you know how I know this is exactly what Jake is trying to do? Well, because that video of Mike Tyson is 4 years old not 2 weeks old. He just straight up lied to create a good story around the fight. And I mean, is that so wrong? Well, on the one side, you have a lot of hardcore boxing fans and professionals that absolutely hate influencer boxing and call it a disgrace to the sport, while you have other people that say that it's great for the sport because it brings in more people, more eyeballs, and ultimately more money. If you watch the fight in July thinking that it's gonna be a real boxing match with crazy knockouts, you might just be disappointed. But if you watch it just as a great piece of entertainment created by these two people, then I think that you're gonna have a great evening. But either way, one thing's for sure, and that is that you're gonna be watching. Just like you're gonna be watching next week's video, where I show you where the hell I am and what I've been up to. As you can see, I'm not in my regular studio. I am currently trialing a secret project and filming some secret videos. And for those thinking I'm in Thailand, well, I could be. You never know. You might just have to see next Monday at 8 p.m. UK time. Alex will put up all the times I there. It's a date every week. Love ya. Bye. Whoa. Just because I'm not at the studio doesn't mean I'm gonna forget. Love ya.